everyone, welcome back. We're doing a deep dive today into the law of attraction and how to use it to transform your life.
Okay.
You guys shared that you're interested in manifesting money and love and career success.
Mm-hmm.
We found this really interesting interview with Mitesh and Indu,
Okay.
two prominent law of attraction coaches from India.
Okay.
They were featured on that popular Shamani YouTube channel.
Yes.
And their approach is anything but ET boring.
Yeah. Their style is really fun, like
Right.
playful and engaging.
Yeah.
And they don't shy away from challenging conventional thinking.
Yeah. One of the biggest things that they talked about was this idea that all of our emotions are actually habits and not just
Yes.
reactions to situations. Like,
Yeah.
have you ever noticed that you kind of react to certain situations in a predictable way? It's almost like you're on autopilot.
Yeah.
And that's what Mitesh and Indu are getting at.
Mhm.
They shared this incredible story about a woman
Yeah.
who was on the verge of suicide. And she was convinced that her marriage and her financial struggles were the only cause of her despair. But within 30 minutes,
Wow.
they helped her to realize that the intense sadness that she was experiencing wasn't totally due to her circumstances.
Right.
It was a pattern. It was a habit of sadness that she'd been carrying with her for years.
That's fascinating.
Yeah, heavy stuff. So how does this relate to the law of attraction?
Well, it's all about understanding that these emotional habits,
Mm-hmm.
they can block us from manifesting what we want. It's kind of like someone with a drinking problem who always finds an excuse to have a drink,
Oh,
even when they know it's harming them.
okay.
You know, we find excuses to indulge
Yeah.
in our habitual emotions, even when those emotions are holding us back.
So they're kind of calling the shots,
Exactly.
not our conscious desires.
Yes.
Okay.
And Mitesh and Indu believe that big events in our lives,
Okay.
whether they're crises or opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
they don't create our feelings,
Mm-hmm.
they amplify them. And they use the example of the 2008 Taj Hotel attack
Wow.
in Mumbai, where 5 people experienced that same event,
Yeah.
but had 5 different emotional responses.
Oh.
Some were paralyzed by fear, others sprang into action to help,
Mm.
and still others felt a strange sense of calm amidst the chaos.
Wow.
And, all that stemmed from their existing emotional blueprint.
So it's really like our emotional habits
Yeah.
are like a lens through which we experience the world.
Exactly.
And that lens can either magnify the good or the bad, depending on what we're used to focusing on.
That's right.
Okay, so it's like we're being primed
Yes.
to attract certain things based on
Exactly.
how we're already feeling.
Mm-hmm. And this leads to another interesting point, which is the role of our environment,
Okay.
in shaping these patterns. Just think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone who grows up in a very chaotic or abusive environment
Yeah.
might develop a habit of anxiety or fear, or you mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
military personnel who are very accustomed to structure.
Mm-hmm.
And discipline might find it challenging
Yeah.
to adjust to civilian life once they leave the service.
Right. And it's like our environment's almost training us
Yes.
to react in a certain way.
Exactly.
But does that mean we're stuck?
That's a good question.
Like, what about people who move to a new city or change careers
Right.
and suddenly experience a positive shift in their mindset?
That's a great point. And it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Environment does play a part.
Okay.
But Mitesh and Indu believe that it's really our beliefs,
Okay.
which are often
True.
formed through a combination of environmental triggers and personal experiences
Mm-hmm.
that ultimately solidify these patterns.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the environment provides the raw materials
Yeah.
and our beliefs shape them into the final product.
Yeah.
Those deep-seated emotional habits
Yeah.
that feel like our default setting.
So our environment influences our beliefs,
Yes.
which then become emotional patterns.
Exactly.
And then those patterns shape how we experience the world
That's right.
and attract certain things into our lives.
Yes.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all kind of fits together.
Yes.
It's like this big web of influence.
Mhm.
And the good news is we're not stuck.
That's right.
We can actually change these patterns,
We can.
but it takes conscious effort
Yeah.
and a willingness to dig deep.
Exactly.
And they say there's a 3-step process: awareness, choice, and change.
Yes.
Okay? Awareness, choice, and change. It sounds simple enough, but I imagine it's a lot harder to put into practice.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It requires,
Yeah.
real commitment and self-reflection.
Yeah.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Let's say you've been stuck in a habit
Mm-hmm.
of negative self-talk for years.
Mhm.
You're constantly criticizing yourself.
Okay.
doubting your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The first step is to become aware of this pattern.
Okay.
Notice how often those negative thoughts pop up and how they make you feel.
So it's like you're catching yourself
Yeah,
in the act.
exactly. The next step is choice.
Okay.
So now that you're aware of this pattern, you have a choice.
Okay.
You can either continue to indulge in it,
Yeah.
or you can choose to shift your thinking.
Okay, so I get the awareness and the choice part, but how do you actually change a deep-seated emotional habit?
Okay, this is where things get really interesting.
All right.
Mitesh and Indu talk about the importance of replacing old patterns with new empowering ones.
Okay.
They use this really powerful analogy.
Okay.
Meena Kumari,
Okay.
a beautiful and successful Bollywood actress from the past.
Okay.
She had fame, fortune, talent, everything you could ask for.
Oh.
But despite all of this,
Yeah.
she died in a deep depression.
Wow, so even when you have it all on the outside, you can still be trapped by those internal patterns.
Exactly.
Wow.
They pose this question: do we want to be like Meena Kumari, clinging to our sadness, even when we have all the external trappings of success? Or do we want to actively choose joy, gratitude, and fulfillment, regardless of our circumstances?
Right. Okay, so how do we make that choice?
Right.
I'll admit, when they asked me what new feeling I wanted to experience, I was stumped.
Really?
I was so used to focusing on what I didn't want
Yeah.
that I couldn't even pinpoint what I did want.
Oh, that's so common.
Really?
People often struggle to name
Yeah.
the opposite of their negative feelings because those positive emotions
Yeah.
aren't yet part of their lived experience.
Okay.
It's like trying to describe a color you've never seen before.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean those colors don't exist.
Okay, so how do we start to paint our emotional palette
Yeah.
with these new colors, so to speak?
That's where practice comes in. Remember the third step.
Yeah.
Change.
Right.
Mitesh and Indu advocate for something called the Daily Magic Practice, or DMP.
Okay.
And get this, it involves hundreds of people dancing together on a Zoom call
Oh, wow. Okay.
to shift their energy and create a positive vibration before moving into affirmations and goal setting.
Okay, I gotta admit, that sounds a little out there.
Yeah.
But hey, if it works right.
Right.
But speaking of achieving goals, there was another bold claim that caught my attention.
Yeah.
This idea of achieving 10 years worth of success in just 1 year.
Oh, yeah.
My skepticism radar went off the charts.
I hear you. It does sound
Yeah.
almost too good to be true. But their explanation of this concept through their Platinum program is actually quite fascinating.
Okay. All ears, tell me more.
They shared a story about a successful businessman
Oh, okay.
who joined their program.
Okay.
And you'd think he'd be focused on making even more money, right?
Right.
But what he really wanted was to improve his fitness.
Okay.
And this highlighted their approach to success as being holistic, encompassing health, relationships, career, and money.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They argue that success isn't linearly proportional to time.
Okay.
It's about mindset and strategy.
So it's not about working harder or longer. It's about working smarter.
Yes.
And aligning your energy with your goals.
No, exactly. They use examples like Elon Musk and the rapid rise of certain billionaires to illustrate how
Yeah.
the right combination of mindset and strategic action can lead to exponential growth.
Okay.
It's not about waiting for success to happen. It's about creating it.
Okay. This is starting to make sense.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, does this mean it's all about just thinking it and it will happen?
Right.
Like some people interpret the law of attraction.
That's a common misconception.
Okay.
Mitesh and Indu are very clear
Yeah.
that the law of attraction isn't about magic.
Okay.
It's about matching your frequency to the frequency of your goals.
Okay.
It's like a phone call.
Okay.
You can only connect with someone if you dial the right number
Right.
or tuning a radio.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be on the right frequency
Yeah.
to hear that specific station you want.
I like that analogy.
Right.
So it's about aligning your energy with what you want to attract. But this brings up another big question.
Okay.
What about people facing like major health challenges or
Yeah.
global economic crises?
Right.
Does the law of attraction still apply in those situations?
Yeah, they address this head on
Okay.
by introducing the concept of destiny versus creation of destiny.
Okay.
They suggest that roughly 20% of life is predetermined.
Okay.
Things like our genetics, family background or certain major life events
Yeah.
that we can't control. It's like the hand we're dealt.
Okay, so that's the 20% that's essentially fixed.
Yeah.
What about the other 80%?
That's where the creation of destiny comes in.
Okay.
And that's where the law of attraction can be incredibly powerful.
Okay.
It's about how we choose to respond to that initial 20%. Our reactions shape the remaining 80% of our lives.
So even when faced with incredibly difficult circumstances,
Yes.
we still have the power to choose our response.
Exactly.
And therefore influence the direction of our lives.
That's right. They share examples of people responding to the COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah.
Some were paralyzed by fear and despair.
Right.
While others found creative ways to adapt and even thrive. You know, it's a powerful reminder that even in the face of adversity, we have a choice in how we react.
I'm starting to see how this all ties together,
Yeah,
but I still have a nagging question about the role of environment.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that it plays a part, but not the whole story.
Right.
What about someone who moves from like a small,
Right.
limiting town to a bustling city full of opportunity?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that change of environment have a significant impact on their mindset?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And Mitesh and Indu acknowledge that environment can definitely play a role.
Okay.
But they maintain that its influence is ultimately limited. They believe that even in a supportive environment, our internal patterns will dictate how we respond to opportunities.
So it's not about waiting for the perfect environment to magically transform us.
Exactly.
It's about working on our internal landscape first.
Precisely. It's about cultivating
Yeah.
those empowering beliefs and emotional habits that will allow us to thrive regardless of our external circumstances.
Okay.
Now, since we're talking about transformation and reaching for big goals, I couldn't resist asking about the earning potential of life coaching itself.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure our listeners are wondering about that too.
Yeah, it's a growing field, and a lot of people are curious about the possibilities.
So what did Mitesh and Indu have to say about it?
They emphasize that life coaching is accessible to people of all income levels.
Okay.
And they made a really compelling argument.
Okay.
If you can genuinely help someone overcome depression or achieve a major breakthrough, the value you provide is immense.
That's a powerful statement.
Right.
So it's not just about the money, it's about the impact you can have on people's lives.
Exactly. They said that even basic life coaches can earn a good living, while top coaches can earn millions.
Wow.
Highlighting the potential for both financial and personal fulfillment in this field.
It sounds like a career path where you can really make a difference in the world while also creating abundance for yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they did stress the importance of genuineness and tangible results.
Yeah.
It's not about getting rich quick. It's about genuinely helping people transform their lives.
Wow, we covered a lot of ground today, from emotional patterns to the 10-year challenge. This deep dive into Mitesh and Indu's approach to the law of attraction has been a real eye-opener. I start off with a healthy dose of skepticism, but I gotta say, I'm walking away with a whole new perspective on what's possible. What about you?
It's been fascinating unpacking these ideas with you. I really appreciate how they combine the practicality with this infectious, playful energy. It makes these concepts feel very accessible. And, dare I say, fun to explore.
Right. Like, it's not every day that you hear about hundreds of people dancing on Zoom to manifest their dreams, but hey, why not?
Right.
If it helps shift your energy and align you with your goals, I'm all for it.
Absolutely.
And speaking of exploring, Mitesh and Indu have generously offered a free 30-day trial.
Oh, wow.
Of their DMP, specifically for our listeners.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. You can find the link in the show notes.
Awesome.
It's a great opportunity to experience the power of this practice firsthand.
Yeah.
Who knows, you might be surprised by what you discover.
Exactly.
Right. So no pressure, but imagine if 10 years of progress really is within your grasp. What if by mastering the necessary skills and aligning your energy with your goals, you could unlock a level of success that you never thought possible?
It's a question worth pondering. What are you willing to commit to to create the life that you truly desire?
That's a powerful question to leave our listeners with. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the law of attraction. Until next time, keep those minds open.
Keep those frequencies high.
And remember, you have the power to create your own destiny.